Ethical dilemmas never occur in a vacuum. We simply respond to what happened before us. My name is Bert Ballard. I teach communication ethics. I'm an associate professor of communications at Pepperdine University. In an ethical dilemma, you're always having to engage in trade-offs. In some ways we call that an aporia, a tension between two rights. So what I'm going to be looking for is not just in terms of what are the moral dilemmas and choices, but how does an artificial intelligence and an android navigate these kinds of moral dilemmas and questions and concerns for others within the context of the game. And then the even deeper question, is an android or an artificial intelligence actually a moral agent? I'm excited to play it. Let's do it.
Please, you gotta save my little girl.
All right, ma'am. You need to go.
You can't do that. Why aren't you sending a real person?
What's defined as real? Maybe it's because I am a professor, but I am choosing to analyze the situation. So at this point, I'm still trying to understand what happened. Sounds like the child was close to the android, but there's a victim. Someone is deceased, like the police officer who was the first responder. I'm still trying to understand a little bit more of what happened. Stories often provide context for understanding why particular actions are taken. It doesn't necessarily mean they did the right thing with those actions, but it does help us understand why a particular sequence of events occurred. Ethical dilemmas never occur in a vacuum. They occur because of some series of events. One of the things we say in communication is you're always responding to something else. The idea that we created something out of nothing is false. We simply respond to what happened before us. So I want to understand why, in this case, would a deviant respond by grabbing a gun out of the closet, holding a child hostage, and then shooting the police officer.
Stay back! Don't come any closer or I'll jump!
No, please, I'm begging you!
Hi, Daniel! My name is Connor! How do you know my name?
Oh, great. You use somebody's name, you humanize them. He's probably feeling kind of threatened, so try to calm him down just a little bit.
Are you armed?
Tell the truth.
Yes, I have a gun. Drop it! No,
If he knows that I'm telling the truth, the probability, hopefully, will go up.
I know you and Emma were very close.
That's all right. See if we can come back. Try to come back to the relationship rather than blaming him as an individual. Of course, through this whole thing, I'm interpolating the notion that this is a real moral agent.
I never wanted this. I love him.
So he's relaxing because I appealed to his sense of nature. Oh, no, he's not very happy.
Let the girl go, and I promise you won't be hurt.
Remember, the goal is to save the child, which is the consequence. In some case, I'm using that relationship in order to save that child. He may, in the end, feel a betrayal of trust, but the child will be saved. And of course, in all these games, there's always a twist, so I'm wondering what will happen here. Everybody always has to violate it, don't they? So Kant, one of the very famous philosophers, Immanuel Kant, one of his big things was you never ever tell a lie. It's always about truth. And for him, truth is a principle you never violate. Within a context of communication ethics, when you lie, you get rid of trust. But I don't tend to think of things in terms of lying. I tend to think things in terms of deception. And deception is about not always telling everything that you might know. But in this case, Kant's wisdom is right on. If we were to create trust, even before this incident, would the deviant Daniel in this case have acted that way? Trust was also what, within the context of the video game, would save the child. It's clearly, and obviously it's a video game, so it's an artificial world, and there are clearly plot contrivances and things to drive it. But no, I think it does a good job of forcing you to think through those kinds of things. It looks like it is private property. Trespassers will be prosecuted, and the question is, you know, it could be uncomfortable but safe, and how do you get in there? Open 24/7, can't stay. Uncomfortable but discreet. All right, so it looks like I have multiple options. I want to go to the laundromat just to get warm. Oh, so we can find a change of clothes. I see. Yes, I'm thinking about taking the clothes, but the trade-off is you've got somebody who is cold and wet. Oh, there's the moral conscience. In this particular society, you're marked as an android, so you are not seen as a full human being. All right, okay, Alice, you corrected me. For now, well, in this particular case, right, communication serves to correct me in my ethical dilemma and concern. And sometimes that's how communication ethics works. We have others who can help us find the better path. All right, we're leaving. It reminds me a little bit of a very classic case that they often use for ethics called the Heinz dilemma, where a husband's wife is dying, the drug costs a lot of money, does he break into the drugstore or not? And it's something we often use in introductory ethics classes to get students thinking about, do you steal the drug from the drugstore, or do you let your wife die? And so at this point, I'm trying to hedge my bets that she will be okay if I can continue to search for other possibilities. I'm gonna try the house. You know what? I think I'm gonna try something different. We're gonna go back and steal some clothes. She may not like it, but I need to not look like an android. Hang in there, Alice. Her life of crime is beginning. Take it. Oh, man. Oops. I wouldn't have done that in real life. Well, no longer an option. Dang. At this point, I know I can get back to the car. I don't want to try the house. What we try to avoid often in real life is how we do ethics. We don't want to deal with that tension around the ethics. We just want to implement. All right, we'll use Alice. Cold, hungry, desperate. Let's up the circumstances.
Knock them down? But why?
Please. Alice, just trust me.
Chance to live on the unethical wild side. I don't know why she's knocking them down. Oh, I know why. Whoa.
You all right? Are you hurt? Well, don't worry.
Yeah.
It's just a few cans.
Come on, let's go.
Uh-oh. Now we're in trouble. Got away. The ethical decision in this case is, all right, you're desperate. In some sense, in my own self-justification, the clerk didn't offer a whole lot of pity. Yes, I may be an android, but this is a little girl, so I'm going to need to use what resources I can to be able to get what I need to take care of this girl. What's interesting, right, is our choices create our realities. You make a choice, and it leads to another set of choices. And in this case, I've constrained myself because I screwed up stealing the clothes, so the choices aren't choices that I'm able to follow through on anymore. If only we had do-overs. Just hit the reset button. You can do that in video games, you can't do that in life.
Yes,
it's often hard that because you make decisions, just like the decision tree that is shown at the end, the flow chart, once you get on a particular path, it can be hard to turn that around. Doesn't mean we can't, but we often start to make small little decisions that can lead to larger ethical violations later on, which is what I'm illustrating right now. I've tried to steal clothes, I'm now cutting property, I stole food, I stole money. And in my mind, I'm justifying saying, well, this child needs a safe place to go, and I continue to close off my options. So I'm getting a little bit frustrated because I didn't do it, quote, right in terms of the game. So now, I've broken a lot of ethical boundaries, but we have food and money. Let's see if I can get into this house. I gotta find her first.
Wait, what are you doing?
Visitors.
Look, I'm an android too. You have nothing to worry about.
Clearly a
We're not
paranoid
gonna do you
android.
any harm. You have my word.
Definitely not something I foresaw. Now I've at least
You must escape
saved the
Ralph.
little girl. And clearly there's something in this whole storyline about androids feeling marginalized and objectified.
Come on!
Choosing to stay because he's pretty paranoid and I've gained his trust. So hopefully he will at least be protective of the two of us. Ah, there we go.
Why didn't he ever love me? He'll never leave me, right? Promise you'll never go.
I promise.
I promise.
Will we be together forever?
Yes, we'll be together forever.
Forever.
I got $50. Ooh, emotion. Can androids show emotion? They can in this video game. The experience was fun. I mean, it's neat to be able to see these moral dilemmas mapped out in a much more clear way. I would say, it's 80% realistic. The choices you're gonna have to make under those circumstances are true to life. I mean, having to make the choices about how to build connection with the hostage taker, yes. Having to choose to sometimes do things you don't want to, such as stealing, shoplifting, diverting, breaking and entering in order to get shelter to take care of a child is definitely true. What isn't true, because it is linear in a game, you're forced into certain choices, whereas you might make different kinds of choices in different ways. There's lots of different ways to navigate out of these, and there's almost an infinite number of possibilities and resources available, and that can't be captured in a game. The choices that we make and the way that we reflect on them impact not just ourselves, but others. And the more we consider that in the way that we make our choices, hopefully the better world that we can create, the better relationships that we can create in our lives.